it's me, Teresa McKelvey with Yarn Shop Around the Corner, and I'm so excited to bring to you this shawl scarf clip tutorial today. I was wearing my shawl. I made the Agatha's Reading Shawl by Ophelia Talks by Anya on her channel, and I made it out of this beautiful Malabrigo yarn, just this beautiful color. I think it's called coral. And so when I was done, I was wearing my shawl, and every time, I sort of move or whatever, it kind of would fall down. And I thought, oh, I wish I had something to, a shawl pin, but I didn't have one. And I was like, well, I had a dress clip, and I was like, And so I crocheted up a little tube. As you can see, this one's just single crochets in the round, and I just did it the length and slid it on, and I wore it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. And then I had another shawl, so this time I just crocheted up a little rectangle, folded it over, and single crocheted it across the top together, slipped it on, and I just became obsessed. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so this time I grabbed some cotton yarn to go with another shawl, and I did a stitch I thought was really pretty, and then I just folded it over, single crocheted across the top, slipped it on, and I just now can't stop making these. And so today I wanted to show you what we're making and just do a little tutorial for you. So the reason I'm starting it with it on is because I wanted you to see, this is just so simple. I like to make them a little bit tighter so they do hang on really well. But you see, it's just I ordered these off of Amazon. I just got a pack of them. And they are, important to know, is 2.5 inches long and 1 inch wide. And so you just make, the possibilities are endless. All the different stitches and the different colors. And so today I thought I'd do a little tutorial for you to see. Just look, it's just cute. Even if you didn't wear it on a shawl or a scarf, you could still wear it on the back of a dress. And so it's just a whole lot of fun, and I hope that you enjoy this tutorial, and I look forward to seeing how you modify it and make it to match your projects. Okay, so first we're going to talk about what kind of what materials we need. We obviously need some dress clips. These are just normal little clips with the elastic. You're going to need a hook. You're going to need your yarn needle, a pair of scissors, and I said a ruler, but you really don't, because it's 2.5 inches long, as you can see here. You just want your measurements, but you might want it as you're going to kind of, because this is very much what's the word? This is very much customizable for your project and for the size of clip that you have. And with that, you need yarn. And that's the fun thing about this, is you only need 5 grams of yarn. So if you make a shawl, just hold back a little bit of, at your end, a little bit of the coordinating yarn or a little bit of the yarn of the project, and then whip this up real quick and simple. It's so fun and quick and easy and simple. So you can use any different, these are different weights of yarn. So this is a worsted weight, this is a DK weight, this is a worsted weight, and this is more of a fingering weight here. And so and to do that in numbers, it's like a DK, well, I'll start with worsted is like a 4, and then DK is 3, and then fingering is like a 2 to 1. And so that's how you can kind of know what your weight of your yarn. So it does do any kind. You could probably even do some chunky and bulky yarn. I haven't tried those, but this is what I'm working with so far. And I've used the same size crochet hook with all of them. And so I'm using a 4mm. These are my favorite crochet hooks by HiyaHiya. But a 4mm, I like that because I didn't want it to have any holes in it. I wanted it pretty dense because I didn't want to be able to see this white through it. And so I find this works really well for my tension. Okay, and so then yarn. This purple one I've used here, this one was Heartland, and it is considered a 4 weight. It says use like a 5.5 sorry, that's knitting needles, 6mm, which would have made it really drapey and big and holey. And so I go down because I wanted it to, and I recommend no matter what weight size yarn you use, go down a hook size from what they recommend, just to give you that tight, look, so that you don't have, so you can't see the elastic through it. And so, all right, let's get started. Okay, so I feel so out of practice in making videos. So if I sound real nervous, it's because I am. I'll just be honest. It's been a while since I've made videos. And so I feel very out of practice and clumsy. So I appreciate you, suffering through with me. Hopefully I will do well enough to get you some value and help you learn how to make these, because they are really simple and fun and quick. And a great accessory for any project. So first thing we're going to do is start with a slip knot. And in this tutorial, I'm going to assume you have a basic understanding of how to crochet. And so, but it is real simple. And so, meaning this project is very simple. If you know, I do believe a beginner crocheter could make this. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is a slip knot. You can make that any way you know how to do it. Here's how I do it. I wrap around my finger. I wrap around the back. I pull the front up over the back, and then I just pull the back loop off my finger. And then you put your crochet hook in and you tighten it up. Very simple. Okay, so now for this pattern, what we're going to do is you need to crochet an even number. So if you're going to use a thicker yarn, you might need to have a less in your chain. If you're doing a really thin yarn, you might want to chain more. But for the most, for the pattern, you need to chain a single number, an even number. And a lot of this is by eye. So I'll tell you some tips right off the start from making all these that I've learned, because as you can see, this one's a little bit longer. This one's a little bit shorter. I found go a little bit shorter than you think, because once we do our chain and once you put in your stitches in your chain grows. So, so go a little bit shorter than you think it needs to be. And then have fun with it. It's so easy. So you did 12 stitches, take it out, try again. It's really easy. So anyway, we're going to chain, I'm going to chain 12. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. There we go. There's our 12 chains. And so you see, and we'll lay that down. You see, it looks like it would fit barely, but that's going to grow. Our chain will expand as we put our stitches in it. Okay. So now we're going to start our pattern, and our pattern is we're going to skip the first one and go to the second. So starting in the second chain from the hook, we're going to put a single crochet in that chain. And single crochet is, I always like to say, single crochet is you start with just one chain on your hook. You insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's your single crochet. Now we're going to do a double crochet in that same stitch. So we're going to yarn over, because double we start with 2. Really good, easy way to remember it. Single start with 1, double start with 2. Okay, so we're going to yarn over. We're going to insert into that same stitch. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, very simple. All right, so now we're going to skip a stitch, go the next stitch, and do the same thing. So we're skipping this one. This is the one that we've worked in, which is why it's also pulled apart. Here, let me move that. So pulled kind of big. This is your stitch here. We're skipping that one. We're going here. We're going to go right here. We're going to do a single crochet and a double crochet. And we're going to do this all along until you get to the last 2 stitches in the row. And like I said, I'm using a really small hook than what this yarn calls for, but that's because I really want it to be dense, and so I have to pull a little bit harder and work a little bit harder with the yarn, but I don't mind because I know the outcome I'm going to get. So once again, we're going to skip stitch, go into the next one, single crochet, and a double crochet. I just love crocheting. It just relaxes my mind. I can totally feel myself. Skip one, going into the next one. I could just feel myself as I'm crocheting. I just my breathing starts regulating. My body starts getting less tense. I just start relaxing. And even like making a video stresses me, makes me nervous and stresses me out. I see myself focusing on the crochet, and I begin to relax and enjoy myself. Okay, so we're going to skip one, go into one more. You're probably already at the end. I'm a little slow today. Single crochet, double crochet, both in the same stitch. Okay. All right. And then now we're at our last two. 1, 2. And so what you're going to do is, once again, you skip one, but you're just going to put one single crochet in that last stitch right there. So do a single crochet, and there's our first row. Okay, and so you can kind of lay it down at it and see. And like I say, I like to make it a little bit shorter because this will grow as our stitches goes in and as it gets used to being on that. But you also want it to be tight enough that it's not like sliding around and falling off. So I have found for this, with this weight yarn with a size 4 hook, this is a good 12 stitches is a good length for me. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 and turn our work like you're turning a page in a book. We're going to turn 1, okay, and then immediately in this first stitch right here, you're going to go ahead and put a single crochet and a double crochet. Okay, and so now we're really going to follow the same pattern in skipping 1 and putting our single crochet and our double crochet in the next one. But one good thing, this is especially if you're beginners, this is a really good pattern to help you start learning, because one of the things that that you can judge and tell that you're really learning is when you can read your work. And so here we have a double crochet and here we have a single crochet. And what you're wanting to do is all across, let me pull this out, all across here, you're going to put your stitches in each of the single crochets. So here, 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 and then here. So that's a good way to start learning. So yes, you're skipping 1 and putting in the single crochet, but it's a good way to remind yourself to start looking. And look, you can see that the double crochet is a little bit taller than the single crochet. So just a little beginner kind of learning to read your work tip there. Okay, so we're going to skip 1. We're on row 2. We're going to skip. We put in our single crochet. We put in our double crochet in the very first stitch. We're going to skip this double. So skip 1, go to the next one, put in a single crochet, and put in a double crochet. Okay, and you're going to do this till you get to the last 2, all the way across. So skip 1, go in the next one, single crochet, and double crochet. Skip 1, skip the double, go to the single, single crochet, double crochet. Okay, skip the double, go to the single, single crochet, and double crochet. Okay, so we're at our last 2. We're going to do this on every row, the exact same thing. Uh-oh, my yarn wants to split. We're going to skip the double, and in the last one, we're always going to put a single crochet. And you see how that kind of looks like see if you can see it, it's just like, where is it at? Well, you just kind of got to turn it, and there's your V. See your V? There it is. So you just kind of go underneath those 2. You put in your single, and there you go. And this is a good time to see. So because, see, well, now we probably have, 1 inch. But what we want to do is enough to double fold this over and single crochet it together. So you want to make sure it's enough, but you don't want to go too big because then once again it's going to go sliding around. And so this is just as a very, you know, as you go project, you just sort of modify and customize. And so I found that 6 rows for me was good with this yarn and this hook and with my tension, and gave me this right here, which I liked. It was just a good, so we're going to do 6 rows of that. You just did row 2, and I'll meet you back on row 6. Okay, just remember each time just put a single crochet in your last one. So I'll do this one more with you. We'll do row 3 together. All right, so you fasties can zoom ahead. So we're going to chain 1, we're going to flip our page like a book, and that very first, see my yarn's kind of splitting, but in that very first stitch we're going to single crochet and we're going to double crochet. Oop, let me get back on the camera, sorry. Okay, I wish my yarn wasn't splitting so much, but it is. Okay, so we're going to skip 1, go to the next one, single crochet and a double crochet. I always like it when I'm doing a project, watching a tutorial, and I can keep up with the person. I go, okay, good. Because when they're like already like on the last one, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, slow down. So I try to manage, I try to see, okay, am I a decent, fast enough crocheter? But you know what? There's no race. You just do what you do. Take your time. You get there when you get there. You finish your project when you finish it. So all the way across, we skipped 1 and did a single crochet and a double crochet. Come to the last. Here we go. It's so much easier to see. It's just that first one down there. Now it's easier to see. There's your single crochet right there. See that? You just turn it up, insert, and do you a simple single crochet. Isn't it beautiful? I just love this pattern. It has so much texture. It's just beautiful. And so what we're going to do, that was row 3. We're going to do 3 more rows. And then I'll meet you back up on row 6. Okay? Okay, so here I am on my row 6. And I'm just, I just love how dense this is. It was a little, tough using a smaller hook than what the yarn calls for, but it's totally worth it in, my finished product. And I just love these things so much, these little dress clips. I really enjoy, like, I like a lot of things English, but I just love old vintage jewelry. And it kind of gives me, like, I can't really wear beautiful brooches like the Queen could get away with and the royal family in England wear now, but I sure would like to, And so this is kind of my way, of wearing something, a piece of customizable jewelry to me that just, sets off your shawl. Because just think about it, you could even crochet stripes or, knit stripes. You could do something where there's little, a round center with a different color. You could even put a brooch to this. And so, I mean, it's just so customizable. It's just a little piece of jewelry, yarn jewelry, to go with your project. So, okay, well, here I am, the last one. So we're going to get over here into this little difficult little single crochet, and we're going to single crochet. And there we are. We're all done. But here's where, because this is so customizable, you need to do this. When you're done, because your tension may be different, so yours may be smaller, maybe larger. But this is where I kind of go. I like to get it and kind of flip it over and go, oh yeah, that'll fit. And don't be worried if it's looks like this, like a little bit like, oh, that may not fit. Just remember, you're going to have a single crochet up here, and the yarn kind of stretches and gives a little over time. I see my end poking out. I thought I yarned that in real good. Sewed that in good. But you see, it's kind of like one of those, what was that game back in the day? The Chinese torture things. Anyway, so the yarn will give a little bit. So don't be too worried if it's too tight, if it looks a little too small. I'd rather it's too small and difficult for it to get on than too big and slip off. So, and you see how quick this is. I mean, you can make it over again. Take it out, make it smaller if you've made it too big. So now we're going to just do what I think is just, you know, the fun part. You don't have to cut anything. You're just going to turn this. Sorry, let me clear my throat. Now you're going to turn this up like this. So you're working here. We're going to turn it up like this. And we're going to make it a little sandwich like that. Just make a little sandwich. Okay. All right. And see, this end we're going to sew in a little bit later. But if you want to, you can go ahead and stick it inside there. I don't want to have to fish it out later. So for me, I stick it here. And here's the beautiful thing about this stitch. No matter if you do it and you turn it inside out, whichever side you want to use, I mean, it's beautiful. Like if you want to turn it, so I could turn this inside out. It's just a pretty stitch. If I was worried about that single crochet kind of sticking up there, see, no matter where you go, I mean, and you might like that better. I mean, I'm looking at going, well, I did put my end through there, but it does do less of the little ridge. Well, I must have done this one. So it's, you know, less of a ridge, which I didn't mind anyway, because that's on the back or the side. So you can turn them inside out if you don't want that to show. But I like to get back to what I'm doing. So I'm going to keep mine on the outside because I want to sew it in real good later. Okay, so here we are. And what we're going to do is fold it together. For all of you people who, you know, are fasties, we're going to fold this together, and then we're going to slip stitch to join, and then we're going to single crochet right across the top. Just like that. That's what we're doing now. So we're going to insert into this first one. And what you want to do is to make sure you keep it lined up the whole time. Now, one time I did another row, so I ended on this row so that when I flipped up, this was on there, and I just laid it across the top and crocheted right over it the whole time to crochet my end in. I'm not going to do that this time because I'm ending on this row and it's out there, so we'll just leave it. Okay, so you want to go here, you want to insert into this side, you're going to yarn over. If you don't know what a slip stitch is, basically a slip stitch is you yarn over and then you pull that loop through every hook on your hook, through every hook on your hook, through every loop on your hook. Oh, thanks for being patient with me today, people. Sorry. Okay, now, as I was saying, you just want to keep it lined up, but it's real simple. You're just going to go underneath your V's here, go underneath your V's there, yarn over, and pull through all the loops. You're just single crocheting right across the edge, just sandwiching it together. And what's so fun about these is, you know, you can do it in the round. You can, if you rather crochet in the round, you can just crochet a tube and in the round and take it off and put it on. You know, take it up, finish it, take it off, put it on. I mean, it's just real easy. I happen to like the flat way just because I like the stitches different. Because when I did it in the round, see, my stitches looked, which is fine, but I liked just this pattern, and so therefore I'm doing it this way. And I am going to start laying down my end here so that I can just crochet right over it. See how that works? You just lay it on top of everything and just ignore it. Yarn over. Just forget it's even there and keep making your single crochet. You just got to make sure that everything is lined up. See, your end. That's up. And then I have one more. And my yarn's a little tough because, like I said, I used a small hook with big yarn. Okay, so there we go. Now, I get my scissors. I like to have enough to sew in. I'm horrible about sewing in my ends, so I'm really proud of myself that I've been becoming more disciplined with that. You just pull it tight. Okay. And honestly, you're all done. Now, what I'm going to do right here is I like to stretch it out a little bit, make sure it's, and all I'm going to do now is sew in my ends, which, I'm not perfect at because I don't like to do it, but I'm going to show it on camera even though you don't need me to teach you how to sew in an end. You thread it through your needle and you sew it back in through your project. And I like to kind of, I've gotten better, I'll be honest, at doing this and finding that I like a more completed look with my projects versus I pick it up to show someone and all my ends are hanging out. And that's probably because I own a yarn shop now. And because when I at home, did things, I would, I didn't show it to anybody. But now I'm always like talking about stuff, and I've had to get into the practice of going and sewing in my ends, which I kind of like. I'll be honest. I just find it, not when I do that. I find it sometimes rewarding to just sit down and simple, and I know, okay, this is just sewing in the ends. We have a sit and knit every Friday in the shop, and we have a friend who showed up one time and she said, I just brought my project and my needle and I'm going to be having a sewing in the ends party. And I thought, that's really good. That's a good way to encourage yourself to do it because it does make a difference. And I've also seen a lot of people come into the shop who are trying to repair something. Sorry about that. Had something happen and I don't even know where I was, but I know we were in the middle of sewing in our ends, so sorry I couldn't complete my thought there. I guess I didn't need to. Okay, so we got that one all sewed in really well there, nice. And now we're going to do this one. I think what I was trying to say is I have learned it's a really good discipline to sew in your ends because I have had people come in the shop before who've wanted help with repairing either someone else's project or one of their own, and it's where it's come apart, and with no ends there, you have nothing really to grab a hold to work with. And so it does make it a lot easier to have some long ends. And so I just want to encourage you there. Encourage you, but also, I'm not very disciplined with it myself. So anyway, you just find your way around. I try to get it a good ways because if it does come out, this is a simple little project. I'm probably going overboard with my end here, but I want to impress you. So cut that off. Okay, here we go. Now the fun part. The fun part is you just slide it on. And if it is a little hard, good, because you want it to be. You want it to stay on there. And I promise you the yarn will give and it will stretch a little. And you don't want it to give and stretch too much, but enough to get it on there. And it's just at first it seems a little difficult. And then it comes on through and you start getting excited. But yeah, you just kind of work it in, work it on, just like that, just like that. You just kind of coaxing it. And I don't know why these just tickle me so much. And I think it's because I really like to wear my shawls at work and when I go to church, and I like to wear them out places. And especially, if I'm crocheting or knitting in the shop or doing things and they keep falling off, then, it's aggravating. So now I feel like I have more stability with them and they're just more versatile. And I mean, look, there you go. Isn't that, I just love it. Send me your pictures, tag me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Send them to me. I'd love to see them. Put them, comment about what you did below, because I know the reason I'm so excited is because these are so customizable. There's just, the ideas are endless of what you can do and make with these. And since I'm losing my voice here today, now I'm going to let you go. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Hope you had a great time. And I would love to know if you'd like to see more tutorials. I like to do easy, simple, quick projects. And So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I would love to see you in the shop someday. Okay, bye.